Hello and welcome to my 500 subscriber Q&A. You have stumbled across this video either because you follow me or because you're someone who likes to watch small, insignificant booktubers do Q&As. And either way, I really appreciate you. I'm so excited. My enthusiasm is dimmed only by a horrible racking cough and cold that I have, which you won't see because I'm going to edit this video, but I guarantee there'll have been at least, 10, 15 cough breaks where I just have to hack over here into my Kleenex pile and soldier on. But anyway, enough of that garbage. We are in for a great next few minutes here, probably longer than a few minutes here. I have a giveaway to do. This is from my Instagram post. I asked people to ask me questions, and if you asked a question, you got put into this drawing because that's the only way you can get people to ask you questions these days, just being honest. But it was totally worth it. I'm super excited to pick a winner. We're going to do the questions first, and then I will draw this at the end. I'm pre-filming this video. This video is going up on June 10th, and on June 10th, when the video goes live, I will contact the winner on Instagram. And you send me your address and which book you want, and it'll be coming your way, all right? The winner is getting a book of their choice under $20 from Amazon because I'm all about it. All right, first up, let's start with these questions. I got a lot of them from my Instagram as well as a couple of my beautiful friends. We were at a baseball game last night, and I was like, give me some questions you want to know about a bookish person. And it worked, so here we go. The first question, if you were stuck on an island, what 5 books would you bring? And I have to say, I'm really happy that I somehow had 5 books with me. But this is true. I mean, if I was traveling, I usually have a lot of books with me. So let's see, top 5. Well, maybe not just top 5. I mean, I feel like I could play this pretty smart. So I'd want to have some book about survival with me, like an all-encompassing how to build a shelter, how to build a fire, how to find food on a tropical area. So we'll save one as a survival book, just because I'm practical. Then, I mean, I would have to have East with me. I mean, I would have to. That's my favorite book, which will probably get brought up more in these questions. I do know what the questions are ahead of time, just a little bit. So I would have to have East. Also, it'd be nice, because if this is a desert island, East is about a cold place, so that would be nice. Oh, this is so hard. Pride and Prejudice, because I feel like I get something new out of that every time I read it. Probably a Julia Quinn novel, I don't know which one. Prisoner of Azkaban, I would bring a Harry Potter book with, and Prisoner of Azkaban is my favorite. And let's go with Outlander, but not the first one, the 6th one, because that's a good one. So those are my 5 books I would have with. I feel like that's a good group to have with me there. Number 2, what is your most reread book? So this is actually hard because I think it's East, my favorite book. But I also think that even though it's not recently, that I've probably read Twilight the most, because back in 8th through 12th grade, I read that book almost constantly. So, I mean, it probably is Twilight is my most reread book. But East would also be up there, because I've also read that since 8th grade almost every year. But Twilight I read many, many, many times within a year. So, probably Twilight. But I would like to say East, but probably Twilight. What is your average reading speed? I have no idea. My friend, I don't know words per minute, but I generally can get through about 100 pages an hour of a book is kind of what we, figured out. Because there was a day where I was, reading with my friend. We were reading at the same time. And I believe I read about 100 pages an hour. But it depends on the book. And it depends on if I'm really engaged in it or if I'm kind of just muddling along. So there you go. Are books of today of the same quality as 15 years ago? So my friend Scott asked this question. And that's hard for me because the books I read 15 years ago, I mean, I was mostly just reading historical romances and like YA fiction back then. I mean, I think that's so subjective. I don't read a ton of classics, which not that 15 years ago makes it a classic, but I did just like read a romance from a long time ago, and I thought it was hot garbage compared to like the Regency romances I read now, which are much more feminist and much more like, they don't tell the truth, but they make it more enjoyable to read. You know what I mean? So I don't know an answer to that question because, I mean, I was reading 15 years ago, but the books that I was reading, I mean, I was young, so they were fine. They felt just as good as anything else. But I do feel as I've gotten older, I have deeper connections with the books that I read. And I feel that authors, especially contemporary books, I feel that authors are trying to teach us more. And I appreciate that. So yes and no. I don't know. Others probably have totally different opinion on that than me. You should ask someone who's a lot older and has been reading YA 15 years ago and YA now. If I could be any character from a book, who would it be? Now this is very difficult because as a fantasy and sci-fi reader, there's a lot of the characters I like, but I wouldn't want to be them because their life sucks. But if I could just be a character from one of those books, like here, like I would just be them, but not have to deal with what they deal with. This is totally random, but I think I would pick, what's the short version of her name? I would pick Vasya. I wouldn't want to go through what Vasya goes through in The Bear and the Nightingale. Like, I would not want to live here. But she has a pretty cool thing. Like, she can talk to the household gods and, like, see the gods around her. And I just really like that. She can, like, speak with her animal, speak with her horse. I always wanted to speak to animals when I was a kid. So if I could have that power, but here, I would want to be Vasya, which is weird. I didn't think I would pick that, but yeah, I would really like that. And she's a badass. Like, Vasya, she's amazing. And then a follow-up to that was, who is the most relatable character to you? I don't know. Again, they're all dealing with really crazy things. Okay, here's an interesting one. I would say Dara from Duel of Fire, the Duel of Fire series, because she has a goal, she has a dream, and not a ton of people like agree with that dream, but she does what she has to do to get it. And she, you know, it's a fantasy series. She gets pulled into a fantasy situation, but her goal is still like this one thing. And she's willing to change that as things start. But when we meet her, her parents don't approve. They want her to do this one thing, and she wants to do the other thing. And instead of really like whining and complaining and like fighting with her parents about it, she just does what she wants to do. She's just like, well, I'll make the choices I have to make. I will get my work done with you, and then I'll also do this. Like, she sacrifices and makes what she wants to happen. And I really love that about her. So I would say that she is the most reliable. All right, so those were the questions from my friends. And now I have a list from all of my subscribers who left questions on my Instagram. What type of books do you like? Well, I mostly read fantasy and sci-fi. Sci-fi is a newer thing for me. I haven't read that much before, but I'm really getting into it specifically through Jay Kristoff, Aaron Bowman, and a few others. And then I really like historical romance. And I read some contemporary romance, more and more now. But those are the main genres that I like. How many books do you have? Well, I'll put a clip up here. I think I've told you this before. I use an app called My Library. And so all of my books are scanned into it. And I can track if I've read a book, if I haven't. It helps me when I'm at a bookstore or a thrift store and I'm finding new books and I want to make sure I don't have it. I have all that on my phone. I've used that multiple times. I can just scan the book. And if I have it, it'll say you already have this book. and if not, I can buy it. So I have currently 700 books. I just hit 700 yesterday because I bought 3 new books that came out. So yeah, I'm at 700. 400 of which are read and 300 which are not read. So 60-40 there. Someone asked me where I work because I've shared that I can often work from home and I have a lot of time to do that. Well, I cannot tell you where I work just for safety reasons, especially since I've told people where I live. It's in multiple vlogs and I've said it many times that I live in Fargo, North Dakota. So I don't want to say where I work here, just for safety reasons. This is the internet, but I work for a technology company doing sales and customer relations. And I'm able to take days at home to do my paperwork and to catch up on emails and to do things like that. So usually 1 or more days a week I can work from home, as well as I'll do like half days at the office and come home. So it does help with my reading time because I'm able to fit that in. What is your favorite bookstore? Well, I love Barnes & Noble, especially now that I live behind it. But I know that because that's a chain, I do understand that there are a lot of wonderful small bookstores. Here in Fargo, there actually only is 1 used bookstore. And it just blows my mind because the town that I'm from, Brainerd, Minnesota, had 4. And it was a lot smaller. So probably my favorite bookstore ever is called Emily's Books. And that is in Nisswa, Minnesota, right near Brainerd. And it's this gentleman who started the bookstore like 13, 15 years ago. And Emily is his daughter, so it's named after her. And there is books from floor to ceiling. There's these tiny aisles, and it's just books everywhere. And it's a maze, and you can just get lost in the books. I have hundreds of dollars of credit there. So whenever we go home, my mom and I will go there and I will find it. I pretty much always have it picked over, like all my favorite authors. But that's where I got so many of my historical romances back when I read, well, I still read them, but Julia Quinn, Catherine Coulter, Eloisa James, like I bought most of my books from there. Also, it's where I found my beautiful first edition paperback of Drums of Autumn. I got it there for $3. Thrift stores are great. But there is one here. It's very small though, and I have a lot of credit there as well, but it doesn't have really books that I need. But I do stop in like once a month and like look if there's anything, but usually I only find 1 or 2 from there. What is your favorite book series? Oh, hard questions. I'm gonna go with Outlander. It's not finished yet. So if I had to say my favorite finished series, I would say Harry Potter because I'm a basic bitch and that's how it is. But currently, one that's still going is Outlander. The 9th book is supposed to come out this year. I'm sure it'll be like November or December, which would make sense because that's when the season 5 of the TV show will come out. So if the book came out at the same time, it'd be really good for the book. So I would go with Outlander. What makes a good plot twist? Which, that's a cool question. I'm torn about this. I mean, the best answer for me is something that the clues were all there, but they don't slap you in the face until the turn. And then when the turn happens and you know what the twist is, you were like, oh my God, I had a tiny inkling of this, but it seemed so crazy, or how would this possibly happen? But when you go back and read it, you were like, it was right there. They weren't hiding it from me. I find it really frustrating when things happen that you couldn't have picked out. That really frustrated me in a book called, it was called wow, I can't even remember the name. I got rid of it. I'll put up a picture of it. But that plot twist in there, no one could have figured out because I went back and looked. And it made me so angry because I was like, this book is so short. And the way, oh, I was just so mad. I think it's like Out of Blood or like Bad Blood, maybe. But it was, oh, it made me so mad. So I like there to have been clues that I can figure it out, but I don't want to figure it out before I'm told. So, in my opinion. Has there been a book, and if so, what is that book that has made you rethink a belief that you've had? That's also from my friend, because she's got brains. So, is there a book that's made me rethink a belief that I had? And she meant to say, besides the Bible, because I'm a Christian, so she was like, don't just say the Bible, that's cheating. And I'm like, okay. I mean, I would probably say a nonfiction, and that would be Unbroken by Laura Hildebrand. I think it's Laura. And that is about Louis Zamperini, who is one of my real life heroes. He's an amazing man. He was an Olympic runner who then joined World War II. He was shipwrecked on a tiny raft with his friend. Then he was in a Japanese internment or like labor camp. And then he went back to trying to be an Olympic athlete. He couldn't do it, but he tried. And he's an amazing man. So as far as made me rethink something, I don't know that it made me rethink my faith, but it made me think about how I would react in that situation, because Unbroken is really about, you know, obviously that title, like remaining unbroken despite horrible challenges, things I cannot even imagine. Like, I feel challenged if I stub my toe, and this man was tortured for his country, and he's so amazing. But who will I be when the chips are down? Who would I be when I was in tight situations like that? And reading that book was harrowing. It's very graphic and detailed, the things that were happening to them, it's rough. And so it didn't so much make me rethink, but made me think, who would I be? Would I hold up? What would I do? Like, oh man, it's tough. But that book is wonderful. It's my favorite nonfiction. It's amazing. You should definitely check it out. You'll notice I have a very tender stomach and heart, so I cried a lot because I do not like war books or stories about war or truth about war. I just don't like it. I have so much respect and love for our armed forces that it physically hurts me. But that was a wonderful story, and I feel like it honors Louis, who was such a cool guy. Look him up sometime. He has a cool last name too, Louis Zamperini, and he was amazing, amazing guy. All right, here we go. Let's lighten things up after that. Do you read romances? What are some that I would recommend to people? Well, I just made a video about this. I do read romances. I'll link to my historical romance recommendation that I just made. Historical romances are my favorite. However, I have read some others that I really love, so I'll list a few. I really liked The Kiss Quotient. I love Sarah Dessen, has some great like contemporary romances / like slice of life books. I just read The Lovely War by Julie Berry that I also just put a review up for. That, oof, just so good. Again, it's a war story, which was really hard, but it focuses more on the romance and less on the war, so that was okay. I loved The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, which is right behind my head. That was great. Yeah, so those are some that are not in the video that I did, but I did a whole video about historical romances. I love it. I especially love when there are fantasy stories that do have heavy romance in them, which a lot of people don't like that, but I love it. Love it so much. How do you organize your books? So I don't organize them, really. Dirty little secret for me. I'm not going to show you this because I film with my phone and it's a pain in the butt to show you, but I have a shelf over here, a shelf over here in the corner, and then there's these 4 shelves across here and 2 in my room. and they're not really organized in any particular way. I always start with read books at the top, and I'll do displays with them. Like I have a Harry Potter display up here. I have a Sarah J. Maas display over there. And then I have one shelf that's completely unread, and then the bottom 2 shelves of each of these are unread books. So I put the read books on top and unread on bottom, and as I read, I'll like readjust the books. How do you tackle the ever-growing TBR pile? Ugh, it's so hard. I don't go on book buying bans because books are one of my like few splurge things. Like I don't really splurge in any other aspect of my life. I'm pretty frugal, but with books, I kind of let myself do whatever I want, because being single and having all your bills paid, I feel like you should get to have some fun, right? So yeah, as I said, I have 300 unread that are the purchase ones. So I try to read as many that I own every week, or every month. But I don't have a good answer for that, because some people have really like, they do Bookopoly things to read books they own. They do like, I have to read 3 to buy 1. Like people do things, and I've tried that. I immediately fell off the wagon. Like it lasted like 1 month, the buy 3 or read 3, buy 1 just didn't work. So yeah, I don't. I do every month, if you follow my channel, like I do unhaul every month, because I find that 1 month, I feel like I can't let a book go, and then the next month I'm ready to let it go. So I usually, according to my chart, I usually buy about 40 books in a month, between 30 and 50, so about 40. I know, I buy a lot of books, and I unhaul about 20 to 25 a month. So I am still obviously taking in more than I'm putting out, but I feel better now that I just, I go through every time and I'm like, are there unread books that I'm not going to buy? When I do the you choose from my TBR videos, I get rid of 1 to 2 books each time that you guys don't vote for, because I know I won't get to them if I haven't got to them in a year and I still have no desire to read it, then it's not getting read. And so those are some things that I do, but whatever. I've stopped making myself feel bad. Those are just the 2 things that I do, is like if I'm hauling this many, I try to get rid of at least like half that amount that I'm not going to get to, because whatever. Do you prefer reading hardback books or paperbacks? Hot take. I like reading paperbacks better. I like how hardbacks look, but here I even have this here. I love a paperback. It's sitting like this, being able to hold it like this. I don't do the fold really, but I like to be able to hold it like this. Hardcovers, I just feel awkward with them, but I like how they look better usually. So I will always like buy in hardback if they have it. Like I'm not have to wait for paperback, but yeah, so that's my answer for that one. What is my favorite type of fantasy? Well, I kind of mentioned this. I like fantasy with romance in it. I mean, I love the chosen one trope, which is what most fantasies are. Also, I like when the evil is very powerful. Like, we don't know how we'll defeat it. There's this trilogy. It's right behind me, actually. It's hidden. Called the Elemental Trilogy by Sherry Thomas. And the evil mage in that series, I didn't know how we were supposed to defeat him. He was so evil and so powerful, and our main characters had to be so smart to outthink him, and they were just barely doing it, like they barely pull it out in the end. And I really liked that. There was high stakes. I didn't know, if we were going to lose someone or not. I'm a softie. I don't want people to die, but if I believe that everyone is totally going to be fine, it takes some of the punch out of the story for me. So, and then finally, what is your favorite time period for books? So, my favorite one is the Regency period. So that is in England when there was the Prince Regent. So that is like, I believe it's the late 1700s. So like 1780s to like 1780s to like the 1830s, which isn't exactly the Regency. History people don't come for me. I'm not going to look it up right now, but it's like that time. That is my favorite romance period to read during. Otherwise, I mean, fantasy books don't really have a time period, so it's hard to do that. But also, I mean, I love Outlander, set during the Revolutionary War. So yeah, which is actually like right before the Regency period of the other ones. So yeah, the books I read that have a time period, that's the time period that I like. So, all right, well, enough of those questions. It's time to draw a name. This is my beautiful cup I got. It says, "Fine, make me your villain," which is the Darkling. So I have all these names. There's multiples of some people because they completed the challenges. So I am super excited. Thank you so much for being along for this ride. Let's see. All right, and the winner is Books for Life 46. And you will see a DM from me this morning, which this morning being June 10th. So thank you so much for watching. Thank you for supporting me. I'm already almost at 600 subscribers. I am really proud of the growth of my channel. I'm so happy for the conversations and relationships I've built with some of you. And for more of you watching this, I want to be closer with you. Please message me anytime. All my socials are below. I respond pretty much immediately to everybody. That is the fun of still being a small booktuber, is I can interact with all of you. Tell me your favorite books. Tell me which of these questions maybe you have some comments on. And as always, I make new videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and you can watch some more of them right now. Bye!